thank you so much for coming onto the show, and I'm super happy to learn more about your NFT project. So what did you bring to the show? Tell me more about your project.
Sure. So my project is called Mad Jelly. Mad Jelly is an 10K NFT collection that depicts all the voices that try to tell you that things are impossible in ways that are so ridiculously adorable that you can't take them seriously.
Cool.
So they're these tiny little doom monster creatures. Depending on whether whatever you see on screen, you can see one of them right now.
Yeah.
As we go through life, we collect all these voices in our heads of people telling us, like, that's impossible or that'll never work. And whenever someone tries to convince you that something is impossible, a Mad Jelly bloops into existence and follows you home.
Love it. How did you come to, when was the idea born? And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about this one as well.
Oh, sure. So this idea sort of came in like two parts. One part was recently. I've been following sort of NFT space and crypto since, I don't know, like a little over a year ago, around like last January. And I was watching all of, I have a lot of friends who are creators and a lot of friends who are artists, and I kept watching NFTs blow up, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I think that the way that this is working now feels like it's going to be, I'm going to buy this JPEG and I'm, going to treat it as like this valuable item. It felt like there was going to be that for a little while, and then it felt like it was going to change into something else, which it feels like I've been watching it change in real time into something that is more Web3 community driven. And so the whole time in the background, I was watching this and I was going, oh, hey, artist friend, you should maybe check out NFTs and make one. And hey, other artist friend, you should maybe check out NFTs and make one. And the whole time I was doodling these creatures and like coming up with a name for them and backstories for them. And after a few months, I realized I want to make an NFT collection.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's like part one of the story. And the other part of the story is that I've kind of been drawing a version of these for years.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you started with you got into NFTs early last year, and then the idea kind of emerged as well. Yeah. And so you started working on the project for several months, and and now you're here launching in early Q1.
Yes, launching in early Q1. That is correct. I've been working on this project for around 6 months in the background.
Okay.
Which is interesting because we're so new, NFTs are so new. I mean, like it's really hard to gauge like, oh, how much time is too much time, or should this be a thing that you should just suddenly discover and put out in the world? And I feel like it varies so much. And a lot of the projects that I really, really am drawn to, I later find out, oh, they've been building this for 6 or 7 or 8 months, in the background. And so they have these entirely built worlds, which is really cool because, after they launch, they start going, oh, well, here's an interesting thing that you've never heard of because they've been quietly, secretly, building in the basement.
Yeah. And so regarding your project, you are the artist and founder, right? Are there any is there someone else in the team, or can you?
Yes, there's actually quite a formidable team at this point.
Okay.
So it's myself who's the artist and founder. We have my partner who's my co-founder, who has been sort of helping with. We both have a background in all kinds of things, filmmaking, cool. Animation. We're both musicians, world building, gamification. We both like to wear lots of hats. So my partner and co-founder is and kind of everything. And we also have, is my screen sharing on right now?
Yeah, your screen sharing is on right now. I can see
let's see if I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can go to, we just had an addition to our team.
Okay.
No, it's not actually showing. So there is, hilariously, one of the things that I want to show you is the one that's not coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on, let me stop screen sharing for a second. So I can,
okay, no worries.
Pause share. So while I'm bringing this up, I will say that we also have our social media manager, Mahi HQ, who's an artist in their own right. And we have sort of an extended kind of moderation communication team, and we have a dev as well, .dev. So we've sort of picked up a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
And one of the people that just got announced this last week, which hopefully you can see this animation now.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
I made.
Perfect.
Awesome. Is we just added Ashira to our team, who just joined. Ashira was on the launch team for Robotos, and she's currently on the team for Toy Boogers.
Oh, nice.
And she's helping us with strategy and sort of PR and marketing and all the things. It's really hard to like define each individual person because you might relate to this as well. But I find that a lot of people in Web3 space, and certainly just about everyone on my team, does not do one thing. They all do 10 things, and they're all skilled in 20. So Ashira is like helping with those things, but also Ashira and my HQ and my co-founder Jace PS. I'm sorry, I didn't actually name him. Yeah. All of us kind of are wearing different hats depending on what's needed.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Interesting. So how did you guys meet each other, and how did this one go?
How did which of us meet each other?
Good question. I mean, how have you guys started? Depends. Do you guys know each other from in real life, or have you met through other communities, through other NFT projects?
My co-founder and I, we're partners in real life. We've known each other for forever.
Okay.
And I'm the founder and sort of driving all of the decisions, but we're sort of both a team and creating things. My HQ, who is doing social, we do know each other in real life. We work together on other projects, and there was just like a serendipitous moment where we started talking to each other on Twitter, and it's really interesting how in NFT space, like it seems like there's like a disproportionate amount of people who make a separate account just for NFTs. And so we both had separate accounts just for NFTs from our normal Twitter accounts. And then we suddenly stumbled across each other, was like, wait, you were here too. And so I asked if she wanted to join the team and help out, and gratefully she our dev, we met because I had come across this project called Boring Bananas Company. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I think I haven't.
But they're sort of you might have seen other projects from them, like they were the Discord and sort of project that founded and backed Weird Whales.
Okay.
Which was, I think, the 12-year-old coder who made these like pixel whales that did really well a handful of months ago.
I think I know them, yeah. The bigger ones, right? They're a little bit, Or I'm actually not sure.
It's interesting. It's one of the first, like, there was like a whole bunch of articles that were like, this very young person became a coder and made all the money. So he was one of those. But he's part of this bigger Discord called Boring Bananas. And one of the utilities of Boring Bananas was to actually get access to help understanding how to even make an NFT.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people there who were offering services and learning from each other. And so I met our dev through there. And the last, Ashira, we actually met because I'd been sort of stalking Toy Boogers for a while. And I really, really was in love with the art. I was in love with everything that Doug was doing. But I was a little bit priced out still of getting a Toy Boogers. And so I finally just kind of amassed a pile of money right at the same time when I think everything dipped at the end of December. And so I managed to get my favorite Toy Boogers, which I love, which looks like me. It's big, a brown girl with curly hair and in a wolf onesie.
Your PFP, right? Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, my PFP, yeah. And I started a Twitter space. I joined a couple other Twitter spaces and sort of had, said hi in their Twitter spaces. And I started our own sort of Mad Jelly Twitter space on New Year's Eve. And she joined and we started talking. and she likes to, in one of our last spaces, she was telling everyone, it was like approximately 5.5 minutes before she was like, I love you so much to me, because we had so much in common. And so we talked for like hours in a Twitter space, and then it was like I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before she was like, actually, I'd love to know if I can, help maybe join your project and see if I can help out.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So lots of different connections, but it was definitely, I think, sort of an example of how everything kind of happens in Web3. Was, you join communities, you talk to people, you see who's building things, who has stuff in common with you, and see if you can, maybe make something together.
Yeah, it's the best to connect with people from all around the world. I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and interesting to know, because I also wanted to get a toy Bogart. What was the price when they dipped in late last year?
Yeah, it was like 0.1.
Like approximately. Oh, 0.1. Okay, that's really good. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's a lot more now.
yeah, I think it's like 0.4 or 0.5. I'm not so sure. Or
I haven't checked because I'm one of those. Yeah, I'm one of those people who I'm really bad at being a DJ, and I'm really bad at flipping because I just go, oh, I love this artist and I love their art, and so I buy their art and then I don't really look back, which is partially why. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you continue, please.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's partially why there are a lot of projects that I wanted to get into early, but how the majority of I think how people start getting enough ETH to get into projects is they get some projects, they flip them, they get some more projects, they flip them, and they work their way up to getting more expensive projects.
Yeah,
whereas I go, I like you, and then I buy a thing, and then I just hold it forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I think they've gone all the way up to, 1 ETH or something at some point. And,
right now it's like
went up again.
0.8. I think,
exactly.
The other day I was checking, it was, I believe it was a little bit cheaper, I don't know. But very nice project, love the art.
Yeah, and they're one of the handful of projects. I think it's Smilesverse and Robotos that have an animation deal with Time.
Yeah, it's crazy,
which is
right?
cool. So yeah. So, but yeah, I'm super bullish on toy boogers. They're amazing.
Yeah, there's so many projects I'd like to get into, but it's always like this, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard. Like when I start naming, this is my favorite project. There's about 12 of them, I'm not lying. Like all of them, I'm super bullish on Little Lemons and Deadfellas and Toy Boogers and Cool Cats, and I could keep going. Lucky Ducky. There's so many.
Yeah.
And mostly they're, I think, driven by really passionate, authentic teams. Usually the artists are on the team themselves. The artist is driving the project, so it feels like it's someone who really has a lot emotionally invested in it. It's not just someone who is going, I'll make some money and leave. They're people who are trying to build long-term empires. Yeah,
that's true.
Which is super exciting.
Did we already talk about how big your collection is going to be, and regarding also how to get onto the whitelist, or is there one? How does this one work? Can you talk us through that one as well?
Oh, for sure. And let me see if I can turn on screen sharing again, because I think I turned it off. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so it's a 10K collection, and we're not using the word whitelist. I don't know if you've come across that before, but there are a lot of projects that are moving away from that term.
That's true. Yeah.
There's sort of there's sort of just racist implications. In that term. That's a trend that's happened, I think, in tech before and has slowly worked its way here.
Yeah.
So we're saying pre-sale list for now until we come up with a much cuter name. But yeah, it's a 10K collection. We have a closed Discord because we're trying to sort of really intentionally build a creative community where we have like-minded people who are in the Discord. And we're doing kind of an interesting, cool thing with invites right now.
Okay.
We have created. We haven't actually shared them out yet. But a lot of the closed Discords that I see that I think are doing an amazing job, curating community that's sort of aligned with the project. A lot of what I see sort of happen with those projects is that a lot of the people feel like, oh, this is super cool and I can get in this way and I can get in this way and I can get in this way. But it often feels like there are people inside of the community that want to bring other people, want to bring their friends in. And that ends up being kind of a hard thing to accomplish because, maybe you sort of joined a contest and got in, but like your really creative friend hasn't, due to time zones or whatever, hasn't been able to show up for the right thing to get into the Discord. So we've created these NFTs to help onboard people that are free. They're on Polygon. And we're giving them out to everyone who is in our Discord. So everyone who's in our Discord is going to get at least a couple of these keys with this sort of kit to be able to onboard people. So everyone who is in our Discord can then give away this key to it doesn't have to be someone in the NFT space. It can be someone outside of NFT space to help bring them into this community. If there's someone, there's no obligation to invite people. I know there's a lot of projects that are like, you must invite 5 people. There's no obligation whatsoever. It's just if you want to bring other people in, we've tried to create this sort of pathway to give access to people who wouldn't normally, who have come to the space late or a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure where to start. So the people on our Discord can actually give their friends their first NFT for free completely with some instructions on how to do that. And that key gets you access into the Discord.
Okay, cool.
So that's something that we're doing. And we're still working on how to do, various ways to actually add people to our pre-sale list. But we're following in the footsteps of a lot of other projects that, there's no grinding, there's no... you must jump through these hoops and you must jump through these, do these tasks or whatever, because there's so many projects doing it for one that no one has time for that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think. Yeah. And also it sort of goes against kind of the spirit of what we're trying to do, which is, if you're someone that resonates, if you're someone that feels like, this is the community for you and you're active or whatever, you're engaged and you're involved, we're going to be, I think, hand selecting a lot of those people and bring them into pre-sale is probably the main way that we're doing that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So it's also doing that on Polygon is also not costing you any gas, which is kind of cool. I haven't seen that concept before. Maybe it's out there, but I don't know, to be honest.
No. Yeah, we talked to a couple other people. We're the first people that, the first project that I think has done anything like that.
That's nice.
Yeah. Because I think I've seen a lot of other projects that are trying to help onboard people into the space, but it's sort of interesting, this world that we're in, because crypto is this imaginary magic internet money. That when you get into the space, the idea of how are people buying, an NFT that's 0.1 ETH or 1 ETH or 5 ETH, or what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of barriers to entry in terms of, when people are first coming to this space. If you look back at Cool Cats, if you look back at Deadfellas, and you look not just at the price of the project, but the price of the project against ETH, Cool Cats was $40 to get in without gas. Deadfellas was $80, and there's no projects right now that are that because gas is so high.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. So part of what we're hoping for, we haven't announced a price yet because I want to price it accessibly for people who are first coming in. But also, give people an experience when they come into this space. Even if they're invited to the Discord, invited to the community, that doesn't necessarily mean, and you have to buy, this NFT. Because a lot of people coming in, they want to get on the pre-sale list, but a lot of people coming in, they just are like, well, I don't even know how this works,
Yeah, that's true.
So giving them their first NFT, getting into the space, they have the option of, trying to get on the pre-sale list or whatever. A lot of it for me is just... It comes down to one of the things I feel very passionate about in Web3, which is I think that it hasn't been a very diverse space for the majority of the time that it's existed.
Yeah.
So trying to be intentional, not just about, the kinds of people who would resonate with this project, but trying to be intentional about being a project that is really inclusive and intentionally goes out of its way to bring in other people who wouldn't necessarily feel represented in these spaces, or see other people that look like them.
Interesting. And I like that you're trying to do new stuff, and with the Polygon invite key, it's kind of cool to bring in new people and maybe also to onboard people who haven't been in space before. So it's really cool what you're doing. Is there anything else you would like to share from your art you brought to into the screen sharing?
Sure.
Because I just can
This
see this nice blue. It's a bear, right? Or is it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been calling them little adorable Doom monsters. Like Mad Jelly is definitely a play on sort of angry gummy bears.
Yeah.
But you know, in my heart of hearts, they're sort of like a caricature and manifestation of rage, adorable rage. You know, when you're trying to like picture these voices, you know, as you go through life, there are people that are maybe even trying to be supportive, but they tell you that something isn't possible. And to try to turn that into something that you can kind of poke fun at a little bit, you know, and to try to like make silly. They're definitely little bear creatures, but I've definitely been calling them sort of rage doom monsters. But cute ones. So I brought a little bit of art to share.
Okay,
so
cool.
This is one of the things that the idea that every time someone tells you something is impossible, a Mad Jelly bloops into existence. Bloop being a scientific term, very technical. And this is sort of, you know, animation of a Mad Jelly blooping
Coming into life,
into being.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it.
And let's see if I can. Yeah. And this is one of our Mad Jellies. And one of the things that I haven't really talked about yet is a little bit like Dead Fellas and like Little Lemon Friends. Mad Jellies don't have a particular gender. And we have sort of, me and my co-founder have come up with a lot of names for each of these characters, which I've really loved coming up with. So they're like they're very, very silly and not gendered names. So our Doom monster in the middle is named Jeffany.
Nice.
We have Joey Vet on one side, Penelope on the other.
Cool.
We have a lot of other names that have been really fun, like Ivangelica and Tim Cheska. And I'm really interested in how we do this part, because I know a lot of other projects are like, oh, we're going to just, you know, try to, because we're going to randomly generate, you know, 10K NFTs in our collection. And a lot of projects, I think they're more based on assembling traits together. And it was really interesting to me to actually assemble them as characters. You know, so rather than going, you have the purple skin, it's like, well, no, you have Penelope, and this is what Penelope's wearing today, and this is the mood that they're in.
Okay.
So a lot of our like base characters, and there's quite a few of them at this point, I'm not sure, 25 or 30, maybe more,
Nice.
will be these sort of named characters that we've come up with. Which
That's
really
a
fun.
lot. And how's it gonna work with the traits, and how many are there out there? Do you
Yeah, we're still working on that.
Okay.
And I think that as you know, projects develop, that number sort of gets bigger and smaller.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
you know, most projects are between, I don't know, like let's say 200 and 300, you know, roughly. So we have something in the middle of that, but I think
Okay.
we're really refining what those traits are.
That's nice.
Yeah. But you know, there'll be people, there'll be little jellies sort of wearing outfits and carrying these like adorable weapons of rage. So you can see kind of like
Yeah, the
Penelope
hammer.
has a little venom. Yeah, there's a Joey that has a hammer.
Yeah.
Penelope has a little mug full of venom.
Yeah.
And some of them have you know, as you go through life and you're a little bit of a creature that embraces things not being possible, you might acquire perhaps some tiny adorable injuries from there. So Jeffany has like a little bit of a band-aid, maybe a little bit
Oh
of
yeah, I
bruise
can
there.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're working on now. But we're trying to like err on the side of building as much as possible behind the scenes.
Okay.
So we want to not necessarily have as much focus on, oh, we're building a giant roadmap and these are all the things that we're building.
Okay.
Because we have such a, like, between all of us, we have such a deep well of experience and abilities in terms of things that we can create. It feels much more in line with kind of our ideals to focus on the spirit of what we're building, the kind of community we want to build.
Okay.
It's been really inspiring to watch Little Lemon Friends and Wonder Pals and all of these projects that are effectively, focusing on how do we build a group of people, that really resonate with this. I think the kind of half joke is the utility of this NFT is community. But for me, like that really resonates, because if you have a group of like-minded people, you can build kind of anything together.
That's true.
And then after launch, all the things that we've been building secretly in the basement, we can start revealing as kind of surprises, which I really like.
Cool. So the roadmap will be revealed, as you said, and you don't want to overpromise and don't want to artificially blow up the roadmap. It's just more so that you want to keep it low key and don't want to overpromise.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it's likely we're going to have probably a very, very, very minimal bare bones roadmap that we reveal closer to launch. But it's inspired by Alien Friends and Wonder Pals, and sort of seeing how much they said up front and how much they'd been building over 6 or 7 months that they revealed afterwards. That feels like a better way to go, particularly if you look at kind of in NFT space, there is this tendency to get really excited, and the fact that the word when, W-E-N, is thrown around a lot. If there's like a certain set of expectations built around that, then it feels like, oh, we're not necessarily looking forward to, there's going to be surprises and there's things we can build together, and there's also room for things to change and shift. It feels much more like driving towards, why haven't you done this yet?
That's true.
And I've seen kind of other, and I've seen kind of other artists and projects kind of crushed by that a little bit, where they have all kinds of things they're delivering on, but because the expectations were set up front, the dynamic is a little maybe harder for the community. So I think doing it this way feels more sustainable and still allows us to build big, amazing things.
Cool. So regarding NFT projects, what do you think is, like, from the beginning something a team should focus on when before launch, maybe, from your learning?
You mean if someone is just getting started out as an NFT project?
Yeah, maybe they already have the art, but or like maybe not finished, but what do you think is, like, important to do to bring people on, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're just getting started out in this space, I have seen both inside and outside of the space a lot of people going, oh wow, all these projects are making all this money, I'm going to jump in and immediately put up a collection. I would not do that. As a project has been building for like 6 months, I actually would encourage people to, rather than go, I've got this art, I want to launch an NFT collection, to start joining other communities, to pick other communities that resonate with you. Like, look at their art, look at the team, and be really careful, like, when you're actually, like, jumping into these teams, because when you first join into this space, you're not going to necessarily know that, like, for example, Doodles is, a really big project with, Burnt Toast. There's an artist, who's driving the project, versus a derivative project that looks very similar, that's called a similar thing. You're not going to necessarily know the difference between those two things. And it's going to be easy to jump into a scam project. So I would, like, ask questions, not just inside of the community, but ask questions, in every community that you're in, and listen to see, like, oh, who are the people who are like me? Who are the people that are also artists in this space? When you're first joining, there's going to be a lot of, unfortunately, predatory actors. who are going to tell you that, this is the exact way that you build an NFT. This is the way it's done.
Yeah.
And there is no way it's done. We've only been here for like a handful of months,
It's
know? So just to kind of get a feel for other communities and to make relationships and to join spaces, to talk to people, because that's where you're going to learn a lot about what kind of thing you want to build in this space.
True.
And the second thing that I would advise people is if you don't see something that looks like you, if you want to build something and you feel like, oh, well, this is the kind of way that things are done, so I should bend my project and my voice to be this. That's not true at all. It's actually better for you to show up and be authentic and to share sort of your ideals and your values and who you want to be, because you'll draw and attract other people that are like you.
That's true.
So, yeah. As an example, like in creating Mad Jelly, like a lot of what we want to do is create a space where, even though there are these kind of doom and possibility monsters that are part of the collection, like the next part of that is, what do you do when you have all these like rage monsters that are following you around? And what we're trying to encourage people to do is that you can't really, once you have one of these Mad Jellies, once you have one of these like voices of impossibility chasing you around, you can't really tell them, go away, because they'll just get louder. You usually have to figure out how to tame them, and you can tame them by being playful. And to try to create this sort of playful space for people, this creative space for people, where people can feel empowered to try things, where they can feel, empowered to learn if they're new to this space. Like, that's a lot of the lens that we're bringing. And I don't know that that's a lens that I've seen out in the world. And so looking around and going, well, this is a very specific point of view that I haven't seen, so I'm going to create it. When I first started, I didn't, even though I had this idea from the very beginning, I wasn't sure if that was going to be okay because I didn't see other people doing it.
Yeah.
And now after this journey, I'm like, well, actually, I think it's more than okay.
Yeah,
because, there's so many people in the world. Like, all you have to do is really lean into what speaks to you. Because if you like it, then someone else is going to be attracted to it too. And then the job is just finding other people who resonate with you.
Yeah, that's super true. I like it. Is there anything that in the beginning maybe didn't go as planned, and what did you do about it, or what was the learning outcome?
Oh, for sure.
Or if not, then maybe you can talk about something that is maybe in the space where you saw stuff that didn't go well, and
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you are undertaking any big project, whether it is an NFT collection, whether it is a startup, whether it is like a giant art project, I'm a filmmaker, musician as well, whether it's a film, an album, whatever it is, nothing is going to go as planned. That's ever. It's like, I don't know if you've seen that sort of that illustration where it's like what people think success looks like, and it's a straight line going up, and what it actually is, and the other picture is a squiggle that goes all over the map, right? I am definitely the squiggle, but I think that most people are. And, after talking to lots of other projects in the space, there are things that I might feel a little bit like hesitant about, and then going, oh, well, this project that everyone knows the name of is huge. Cool Cats launched, and people complained that the price was too high. They actually had to lower their price within the first day of launch. Because people were like, I don't even remember how much it was. It was like $80 is too much. You must have to $40. $40, that's a good price. So they literally lowered their price, right? And it seemed like maybe this wasn't going to work. Little Lemon Friends had a date that was set to launch during, I think, December. Earlier, November. And gas was really high. And they literally had to change their date to be, a month or 2 months later. So, for me personally, I think getting into the space, there was this sense of, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and it's going to, work immediately. And that's not how it goes. But the benefit of that, I think of maybe not necessarily finding immediately the community that we found now that has been really, really exciting. The benefit of that, like if I were to give advice to somebody else, is that if you find yourself getting maybe not the best advice that you follow, which has certainly happened to me and to our team, if you find yourself having things not work instantaneously in terms of, trying to figure out how how you want to frame your project, not necessarily like figuring out how to like reach people.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things, all of those setbacks, I would take those as opportunities to really refine your voice and to build the world, you know, that you want to see. I know this is true for other projects as well, but like when you look at Alien Friends or Little Lemons, they spent a lot of time building.
Yeah.
All of the things that might be interpreted as setbacks publicly in terms of, oh, well, you know, you were going to try to do X and it didn't quite go the way as planned. Whatever that specific thing is, for me, I've taken that as an opportunity to go, okay, well, let's actually refine what we want to build. Let's build out more of the story. Let's build out more of the world, more of the, you know, mechanics or whatever it is that we want to do behind the scenes, rather than going, oh, this didn't work. Let's change sort of the ideal at the center of our project, if that makes sense. Like I would encourage people not to get disheartened.
Okay.
Because I think that if you're this early in the space, I know it's gotten to a point where people think it's like a cliche saying that we're really early, but I still think we're really early. If you just show up, right, and you're like authentic and you keep building and you keep like meeting people and joining communities and listening and you keep, you know, showing up to build, I think eventually a door will open for you.
Of course, think so too. Yeah. Yeah. What do you? What's your? What do you think has helped you to get known? Is it like working or helping and building in other communities, or?
Yeah, I think more so even than going, hey, this is my project, you should pay attention to it, because there's so many projects, there are lots and lots of projects, and so many of them are really wonderful. I think that for the people that have been in the space for a minute, it's hard to know when you first see a project, is this genuine? Is this run by scammers? Is this, you know, there's huge trends of people who are, for a while, like I actually think when gas was really high, like in November, there were people who were coming over from sort of meme coin crypto and taking that same model and bringing it over to NFTs and hiring artists on Fiverr and flipping over projects really quickly. So, you know, coming into this space and going, I've got a project, and then people not immediately warming to it, it's usually not personal. It's usually because like, oh, I'm not sure who you are. And that, you know, sometimes it's an easy way to get around that is if you dox yourself. Like a lot of undoxed projects are untrustworthy, but there's also a lot of people who are not doxed, you know, like Betty from Deadfellas, who, but you still know who that person is. You get a sense of them. So as far as like getting to find purchase in the space and getting to like know people, I genuinely think before you even start to think about, hey, I want to sell you this, right? Or like, I'm trying to like, I want you to be part of this thing I'm building. Before you even get to there, get to know people, like get to know people and find out what other people are doing, figure out how to support other people. And even if you don't have money, like, it costs nothing to retweet other people. It costs nothing to favorite other people. It costs nothing to share other people's work. We talked about this a little bit before we started recording. But I started working on a podcast as well, because in my list of many hats that I wear, I have a lot of experience running big live streams and a lot of experience interviewing people, you know, for film and for things like that. One of the things that was interesting to me is that, you know, it's more fun if I'm creating with other people. It's more fun if it's not just me talking about my story, if I get to know about other people as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I started, So like you, I started running a Twitter Spaces and you know, doing these sort of interviews with other creators. You know, interviewed Jeremy Fish from Lucky Ducky and you know, Snaries from the Lemon Friends and Mina from Wonder Pals in a podcast that I'm hoping to launch any minute now and to put up on Spotify. But a lot of that was me going, It's the benefits of wearing many hats is that there's lots of things you can do, and the perils is that you can't do them all at once. That's true, so like, so totally. So part of it has just been time balancing, going, oh, I need to sit down and actually like edit these together and put them up. So hopefully it's going to happen actually literally today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time this goes up, maybe it'll be up already.
Yeah, that's good. Have you recorded your Twitter spaces? Yeah, right.
Yeah. I've recorded the Twitter Spaces, so I have I think 5 or 6 now
Okay.
podcast episodes.
Okay,
And
cool.
the podcast is called NFA, Non-Fungible Artists.
Nice.
But all of that is under this umbrella of like, I think your original question was like, how did you get your project
Ah,
seen
yeah.
or known? And
Mm.
yeah, and so much of that was not about the project. So much of that was I'm not worrying so much anymore about getting the project seen or known because I know that the projects usually that are really, really good at doing
Mm.
that very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
it's either something you can't replicate, which is they have all these relationships and they're part of these communities, and that's not a thing you can do overnight,
Mm-hmm.
or it's sort of fake and forced and, paid influencers
Yeah.
and paid bots or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So avoiding both of those things and going, okay, well, I'm just going to get to know people. I want to know people's stories.
Yeah. I love it.
Um, yeah. So if you want people to be interested in your work, it's more interesting, I think, to me to support other people first and be part of the community, and then, if they resonate with your work and like it, then you'll know.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. Yeah. Super
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm doing it as well, to connect with people, to learn more about them, and like love putting content out there. Love talking to people, and it makes from what I hope. Like what I hope from doing all that is to find connections, to make friends, and yeah, that's basically it. So I'm not expecting to make big money or something, just to have fun and enjoy the time together, and maybe also help out some projects along the way. So
Yeah, same. I think like focusing on it being transactional, like what am I getting out of this? Like that's how you'll lose
yeah,
immediately.
that's true. Yeah,
If you're just focusing on what am I getting out of this? Supporting other people.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that should be kind of the focus. Yeah, and then you get to know other people's stories
for sure.
kind of a part of what you're doing too is that because there's so many projects in this space,
Hmm.
there's not necessarily recently there's been a few more, but there's not like a lot of outlets
Yeah,
where
right. There are
people
not so
can
many people actually,
right.
right?
There's yeah. So one of the things that I kicked myself a little bit
Yeah.
because I actually wanted to start a podcast in September, and I didn't trust myself. I was like, I don't know, maybe that's like a distraction
Hmm.
from building the project. And then after a few months, I'm like, no, it's not a distraction. It's getting to know people. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Giving people a voice. But like when I was trying to figure out, okay, well, if this were something that were happening, in a different part of the internet, in Web 2, if this was
Yeah.
something that were happening offline, you would find where is the megaphone, where is the like media channel that everyone
Hmm.
looks to for this kind of thing, and go figure out how to be part of that. And then realizing this is decentralized, it's Web3, that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So if there isn't, kind of a platform, there's a few, there's like NFT culture and places like that that have been in existence for, 6 or 7 months, but
Mm.
it's really not, it's a really, really small number of people. And the beauty of Web3 is that if you don't see something that want to exist, you can make it exist.
Hmm.
If you are like, oh, I wish that there was, a platform that talked about projects, you can make one of those like you
Hmm.
are. And giving people an opportunity who, artists and creators, projects in this space to tell their story is really magnificent. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Actually, it's true. Yeah. There are not so many. There, like the big ones are, or I feel like there are only a few really big ones, right? And then a few smaller
Hmm.
ones, from the community, and NFT collectors, project builders, different
Yeah.
kinds of artists, and yeah,
And the big ones that are quote unquote big now
yeah,
in September, like if you look at MT Culture,
yeah.
they have a couple of spaces, and like when I check them out, it's like 300, 400, 500 people in their spaces.
Mm-hmm.
In September, it was 50. September
Okay.
was like 2 minutes ago,
Yeah, right.
right? So you look at
50.
like Oh
Okay.
Shiny, and it's yeah. So you just go, oh, what did they do? They showed up regularly.
Yeah.
They showed up every day, or they showed up every week or whatever, and they just kept showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And because the space is kind of small, it also means it's kind of exponential. It's
Mm.
only a couple months between they like 10x their audience in like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it's
You know,
crazy.
and that's kind of the beauty too, is if you keep showing up, I think that it's not particularly hard
Yeah.
to make a space for yourself.
Do you think it's important to do Twitter Spaces or
Yes.
yeah, Twitter
Yeah.
Spaces
1000%.
yeah, Twitter Space is really important, right? What do you think is like the recipe for success, or how should you plan in spaces? Should you bring on projects or what?
I mean, I think how you do it, again, like
It's
it can be
individual,
up to
right?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super individual. But the reason that I think Twitter Spaces are super important, I don't know that they'll be super important in 3 months. I don't know
Yeah,
they'll be super important in 6 months. But I know they're super important now in the
it's
way
true.
that Clubhouse, you know, even though I wasn't part of that, everyone that I've talked to, there was a period of time between like January and April of last year where everyone was in those spaces. All the
Mm.
people that you think of as having big platforms now or really quote unquote connected now, they were all in Clubhouse early last year.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter Spaces right now feel like it's sort of a
Early
second
Clubhouse.
try at
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really Clubhouse. But like if you look at the beginning of any tool,
Mm-hmm.
like if you look at the beginning of TikTok,
Yeah.
I don't know if you spend time on TikTok at all, but really
Not
early
so much.
TikTok, they rewarded. Yeah, I'm obsessed with TikTok. I love it, but but really early TikTok, they rewarded basically if you were on the space,
Mm-hmm.
anyone had a chance to have their video like their TikTok blow up.
Ah,
Literally, it was
okay.
flat architecture. Whereas, you know, if you are someone who tries to do a thing on Twitter or a thing on Facebook, which I wouldn't recommend,
Mm.
but you go on those spaces and like the longer that you're in those
Oh, it's my timer. Oops.
platforms. Oh, sorry, do you
Sorry.
have to go?
No. It's all good.
Okay. Okay. The longer those platforms exist, the more they start to go, oh, well, there's a lot of people here. Now we've got to develop an algorithm. Now we've got to make sure that we show you, you know, things that we know you're going to like specifically. And they start creating these niches.
Mm.
And so it becomes harder to access everybody. And right now, Twitter Spaces, which won't be true maybe in 3 months, 6 months, depends on how people start adopting the tool.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can pretty much access everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have a lot of, so you have a lot of benefit if you start a Twitter space, you know, inviting people, showing up regularly, showing up inviting different kinds of people. The way the algorithm works is that if anyone is in a space, it'll get surfaced to everyone else that is following them,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, that's
won't be
true.
true, I think, later. So you have a lot of opportunity to kind of have this exponential effect of getting an audience and building an audience.
I think I should give
And
it a try as well.
yeah, I recommend it because I do think it's not guaranteed because anytime a tool gets successful,
Mm.
how the tool works will change.
Yeah.
You know, just right now we're in that little window where it has disproportionate sort of rewards
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Is there anything else you would like to add before we end our lovely call?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, check out Mad Jelly if any of this resonated with you. You can follow Mad Jelly HQ on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow me, Duchess Betsy, on Twitter as well, and we'll be giving more opportunities for people to join the closed Discord, more opportunities for people to join the pre-sale. Yeah, and generally, I think that if I were going to have closing thoughts, it would just be, you know, if you feel like you're new to this space and you're intimidated, or you feel like, well, I really want to jump in and I want to play, but I feel a little bit nervous about either there's too much to learn or it feels like I'm nervous to jump in a Twitter space and speak. Right now is this really kind of magical opportunity where I think that there's room for, I mean, I think there's room for everybody indefinitely, but I think that there's, especially now, like just being able to jump in and to share and to participate and to think about, you know, how do I not just listen and but then support others, and then, you know, how do I want to build in this space? There's so many chances right now, I think, for people to, you know, maybe take on things that they thought weren't possible before in, you know, Web 2 or other parts of life that they can really build in Web 3. So I just encourage people to jump in and you know, see where it takes them.
Thank you so much. And regarding the closed Discord, so if we follow Mad Jelly and maybe activate the notification bell, will we
Mad
have
Jelly HQ, that's correct?
Mad Jelly HQ. So we'll get a chance to maybe hop into the Discord and connect with you guys, yeah?
Yeah. That is totally... Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you regularly post out Discord invites as well on Twitter, or?
We're starting to now.
Okay, cool.
We have basically been saying for a week or two now, going, turn on your notifications. We will share Discord invites, and we haven't yet started sharing Discord invites, but we will be starting to do that around this week.
Okay, cool.
And would love to share maybe some Discord invites for listeners of this as well.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, we can do that. Would be lovely to share some as well. Thank you so much. We can talk about that later, and we'll share it with the with our Twitter audience. Thank you so much for taking your time. It was lovely talking to you and meeting you, and I hope to stay connected with you. So super excited to see how the project is developing and to get into Discord, and excited for the launch as well. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much as well. Thank you for having me and letting me introduce more people to Mad Jelly. Super grateful.
Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah. Cheers.
You too.
Bye. Bye.